Fleas are a really common problem in our pets, and a lot of people want to know how they can tell if their cats have got fleas. So I'm going to use this little willing volunteer here to show you an excellent technique for telling whether your pet has got fleas. Now, you might get lucky and you might see when you look between the fur that you actually see some live fleas in there. And I think we've got a little shot for you of what a flea looks like for those of you lucky enough not to have seen one before. But generally speaking, most of the fleas don't live on the animal, they live in the environment. So for every one flea that might be on them, there are generally 20 or so in your environment. So most of them aren't there. So what we look for is flea dirt. Now, flea dirt is actually flea poo, flea feces that's left behind after they've eaten, and it's left within the fur of the animal. And what we'll do is we give them a little rub like this and look for little black spots that fall off, and then we can test those little spots to see if they are flea feces. So if it is flea dirt, it contains blood, and if we get that wet on a piece of white paper, then it should dissolve into a little red mark, and if that happens, then you know you're dealing with flea dirt and you do have a flea problem. So if you find that your animal does have fleas, obviously you need to do something about it. Fleas can cause numerous problems. Obviously they can be irritating for the pet. If you've got a very young puppy or kitten, they can actually cause anemia because they drain so much blood out. They also transmit tapeworm, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, but also we do see flea allergic dermatitis, so animals that become allergic to the bite of the flea and develop really nasty skin infections. There are loads of products out there that are available for treating fleas, both tablets and spot-ons, and generally most of them are very effective, and I would consult with the veterinarian about which one is most appropriate for you and your pet. But the important thing to say is that as well as treating the pet, you need to be treating the environment too. So there are a couple of sprays or bombs that you can use, and you also need to be really vigorously hoovering the area where the pet sleeps and just generally around the house more frequently would do to suck up all the kind of eggs and larvae that have been laid in the environment. The other really important consideration when treating a flea infestation is that it's not something that goes away immediately. So you are going to continue to see fleas for anything up to 3 months after you start noticing a problem, and that's because all those eggs in the environment need time to hatch out. So just because you've treated and you're still seeing fleas does not mean that you have a problem, does not mean that there's a resistance to the drug that you're using. We would expect a flea problem to take that long to clear up. Now, the spraying of the house and stuff can speed it up, but I would expect to see live fleas up to 3 months, and they will still be running around on the cat or the dog because they take 24 hours to die from when they come in contact with the animal. So again, just because you're seeing live fleas on your animal after you've treated the product doesn't mean that what you're doing is failing. It just means that it takes a long time to get to the bottom of the problem, and this is why prevention and year-round prevention, because we absolutely see fleas in the winter too, is really important, because it's a lot easier to keep fleas from coming in and keep them under control than it is to get rid of them once they've established in your house. And the final thing that's worth saying is that they do transmit tapeworm as well, and this is where the tapeworm eggs live within the flea and the animals groom themselves and they swallow the flea and then they get tapeworm. And actually I've got a really horrid footage of a cat recently that had tapeworm. You can see it emerging here. And so as well as treating your animals with an appropriate flea product, it's worthwhile treating them with a product that also does tapeworm as well to prevent that becoming an issue too.